Congressman, good to see you again here. You're a week into the statewide listening tour. What are Texas voters telling you?
Yeah, well, thanks, Jason, for speaking with me. I'm really excited about our Lone Star listening tour going all around the state and talking to Texans about what they want in their next senator. And I think they want to move on from the divisiveness that we've seen from our current senator. I think they want somebody who can bring us together. I think they want somebody who will show up and actually listen. That's what I've been hearing.
You are visiting population centers from El Paso, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, the Rio Grande Valley. Democrats always do well there. You need to introduce yourself, of course, to those areas. But rural Texas is where Democrats always lag in the last 20 or so years. What's your plan for rural Texas?
Well, we're certainly going to go to rural Texas. We're going to go all over the state, and I think that's really important. And so we'll get there. What we're trying to do right now is introduce myself to folks who maybe haven't had a chance to hear from me. Obviously, you know me well from my time serving here in Congress in Dallas, but there are folks all around the state who we wanted to get in front of, and we'll be trying to do that with everyone around the state.
Let's talk about polling here. The last poll in the race was back in May. It showed it's a single-digit race between you and Senator Cruz. That's obviously been a few minutes, and people have been on vacation. But what has internal polling showed most recently for you guys? Is it still that close of a race?
Well, this starts as a close race. I think it's going to finish as a close race. And the question that we're going to have is, what are we going to do over the next few months to make sure that next November we can move on from one of the most divisive senators in the country who hasn't done the job that we elected him to do. Senator Cruz has been too busy podcasting, trying to get on cable news to actually serve the people of Texas. In my time in Congress, I've shown I'll take a very different approach, one that brings folks together, maybe folks you wouldn't expect to be brought together, like the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the AFL-CIO. It is possible to find that common ground.
As far as polling, though, goes, is it still a close race, what you guys are seeing internally?
We've always seen it as a close race, and nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed? The reality on the ground here, Congressman, as you well know, Democrats haven't won a statewide office in years here in Texas. Beto O'Rourke came close 5 years ago when he was running against Ted Cruz. What makes you think that you can break that losing streak that Democrats have had?
Yeah, we're going to build on what Beto did, and this is about the future of Texas, not what's happened in the past. But it's also true that I've never lost an election. And when I was running in 2018, a few months out, national prognosticators gave me a 10% chance of winning that race, and we won by nearly 7 points. So we've shown that it's possible to bring over Republicans, independents, to turn out, of course, the Democratic base, and to make sure that we appeal to everyone who is out there and make sure they feel like they can vote for me, that I'll be their representative too. That's how I'll be in the Senate as well.
Third term in Congress here. What's your biggest accomplishment so far?
Yeah, well, I'm really proud of the work that we've done to serve our veterans and to make sure that we keep our promise to them, from opening the Garland VA Hospital to making sure that we are funding properly the VA system. That's been a real focus of mine. I've also been really hyper-focused on our economy, from the infrastructure bill. It's bringing $35 billion to Texas over the next 5 years, to the CHIPS bill. It's going to bring high-tech manufacturing back to our state. It's already doing that, to the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement, which for Texas, we're the #1 trade state in the country. Mexico's our #1 trading partner. Canada's #2. I've been hyper-focused on that. But of course, also our healthcare. Healthcare is so important for us. We have the highest uninsured rate in the country. I've tried to lower costs and expand coverage.
You've really created a reputation and become known for working across the aisle. Why is working with Republicans, though, a winning strategy in this state where Republicans already win?
I just think there's a hunger out there from folks who want to have leaders who actually talk about what we share, about our common values, who will try to bring us together around these issues that we know we can get done together. That's what I see in my congressional district. That's what I'm seeing around the state. I think folks are tired of this era of hyper-partisanship. I know I am. I'm sure folks who are watching this are. It doesn't have to be this way. I think our politics are nowhere close to where our people are. We have to fix that. But to do that, we have to replace some of the most divisive figures in our politics, and Ted Cruz is at the top of the list, and that's why I'm going to beat him.
How much is this race going to cost?
It's going to cost a lot of money. I don't know what it'll end up costing, but I'm sure if you look at the last election, it'll be north of that.
You think north of that? You can raise that money?
I think we will.
You, of course, have a Democratic primary challenger, State Senator Roland Gutierrez from San Antonio. How would you tell Democratic primary voters that you're most different from him?
Yeah. Well, I think we have to make two determinations. One, who can beat Ted Cruz? And two, who will do the best job in the United States Senate? I think I've shown that I know how to run in tough races. I'm battle tested. I was raised by a single mother, made it to Baylor, to the NFL, now to Congress. I know who we are as a people, and I know how to win a race like this. But also, I've also shown that when I get into the United States Senate, I will get things done. I have a record of delivering and doing it in a way that brings folks together, not one that pits us against each other. I think that's what we need in our next senator.
If you're the nominee next summer this time, are you going to campaign with President Biden in this state?
This is about Texas. It always has been. I felt the same way in 2018, that it was about Texans talking to Texans, neighbors talking to neighbors. Ted Cruz is our problem. Texans are going to eject him in the next election.
But if the president says, hey, I'm available to come down there to Texas, would you campaign with him down here? Do you think he's going to hurt your candidacy, or will he help it?
You know, I don't know. I just think that I've always felt, you know, I'm a fourth generation Texan. I was born and raised here. I went to Baylor. I've always felt this is about us. This is about who we are. We know who Ted Cruz is. He's somebody who divides us, who pits us against each other, who doesn't do the job that we elected him to do. The question in this election is going to be, who are we? Are we going to be folks who re-elect someone who goes to Cancun when a crisis hits our state? Maybe re-elect someone who's one of the leading voices in January 6th trying to overturn an election? Or are we going to move on in a way that I think is productive for all of us? That's what I think is going to happen.
Congressman, thank you for the time.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jason.